Hey friends, welcome back to the Local Realtor Show. Chandra and I are so excited to share with you today something special. Chandra, where are we?
So we are at Portage Fire Department Station number 3 with my brother, baby brother, Scott Klein, who's going to share with us today some great tips and just some things that maybe we don't always think about, maybe some things we take for granted. So, yeah.
Especially because we work with a lot of first-time home buyers, a lot of people that have just moved to a new house, and a lot of times the fire safety gets forgotten. And October, Fire Awareness Month, we want to highlight that. So if you're a realtor out there listening, please share this on your platform to help your buyers that moved into a new house today or this year. We definitely want to get some fire prevention out there.
Yeah,
so,
especially for those kiddos.
Oh, my goodness, yes. Yeah. Scott, can you share with us how did you come to be a fireman? How long have you been in this? Share us a little.
I've been with Portage for 14 years. I was a volunteer at Cedar Lake since 2002. So even though I look like I'm 26, I'm not.
Yes.
Wait, you were 26. Okay, yeah. I'm 30.
We'll go with that. It works. So, and how did you start?
I started when I was out of high school, and when I was 21, I became a volunteer in Cedar Lake. I had a small business and I had free time. Thought that it'd be cool to help out and give a little back. And then once I got into it and got some certifications, I really liked it so much. I thought I got to do this every day for a career.
Yeah.
And so I started applying and landed here in Portage.
That's really incredible. So many lives you've saved, I'm sure.
Well, I don't know. I don't necessarily know about that, but
oh, I'm sure. So
How many lives he's impacted.
There we go.
We can say it that way.
I like that.
Right.
So let's start. I've got a couple questions here, but let's start at the very beginning. Someone moved into a brand new house this year. What should they do? What steps to make sure their children are ready? I mean, the first obvious thing, smoke detectors. Yeah.
I don't know through the home inspection if that's something that's checked or not checked. But you obviously want to make sure those are new or at least up to date and working.
Yeah, new batteries.
And CO detectors as well. I think I've shared with Chan a good gift from the realtor when they purchased a home is a nice CO detector.
Okay.
Those are price point like $60 to $100 for some good ones. That's something that a lot of people overlook, and it's definitely a necessity.
How many of those in the house? Each level? Where do you put them?
They say one per floor.
Okay.
With the CO detectors, you kind of got to find the right spot. You don't want them too close to the appliances, your water heater, your furnace, because those are going to give off a little bit of CO all the time.
Okay.
But you want them also near bedrooms because that's where, since you can't smell CO or hear it, you don't know that it's there. So you want to be able to be alerted in the middle of the night if there's a leak. So somewhere in the center of the home, usually one on each level if you can, and then not too close to the utility room, if you will, 20 feet away maybe. I have a 1,500 square foot house. I put mine right in the middle of the house. It's in the hallway by the 3 bedrooms and far enough away from the utilities. So
Okay.
I won't market anything, but I like the ones that plug in with the battery backup.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Sounds good. So we know we've got to get the smoke detectors, carbon monoxide. How else could we prepare our children?
Coincidentally, this year is the 100th anniversary of Fire Prevention Week.
Yeah.
The NFPA, National Fire Prevention Association, is their theme this year was make an escape plan to get out. So what we would teach the kids in school this year was that we focused on that. And that's actually kind of a fun activity to teach the kids. It's basically an in-home fire drill. So they're practicing fire drills in school, but no one's practicing fire drills at home because, who knows what to do during a fire in your kitchen. So some good ways to get started are have fun with it. Draw a map, draw an outline of your house, have your child do it, and then show where the exits are and a couple different ways they can get out. And then you always want to have a designated meeting place. We used to generally say the mailbox, but we also don't want people too close to the road. So pick somewhere, usually in the front yard or the side yard where other people can see you, something in a safe area, a big tree in the yard, the swing set if it's in the front or the side, a mailbox, the sidewalk. That's up to you and your family and whatever whatever type of house or property that you have. But as long as everybody knows where it is, and then always pop quiz the kids. When you hop in the car, just ask them, "Hey, little Timmy, where's the meeting place if there's ever a fire?" And just make sure they're on. They know where it is.
I like that. What would you tell a child, like if they wake up and they smell smoke in the house? What is the first thing that a kid should do in that event?
If they smell smoke or if they hear their working smoke detector going off, which hopefully the smoke detector goes off before they even smell it, there's a couple tips. Obviously, they want to, they're gonna probably want to find a parent. Something that hopefully will be done is hopefully all the doors will be closed. That's a tip that we're not sharing enough with people is when you go to bed and everyone's doors should be closed. And then if there is a fire in the house, all the doors, you should close the doors or keep your door closed. So if the kid's in the bedroom and the door is closed and there's smoke, he can open the door, gently, carefully to see if there's any, if he's able to go into the hallway. Be cautious, yell, try and find a parent. If not, keep the door closed in your room and stay there and go to the window. Some tips: tell your children not to hide if there's smoke. We don't want to. If we have to go in and look for them, we need them to not be hiding because we're not going to have a little difficulty seeing in there if there's a lot of smoke.
Yeah.
So, but keeping the doors closed is the main thing.
Okay.
And then if they can get out of the house, definitely exit the house. Don't grab toys, don't grab computers, the gaming system, leave it all, and just get out to the door and go to that meeting place. That's what they should be telling the children.
Yeah. And then as an adult, talk about like re-entering a home at all. Should we ever re-enter a home?
No, obviously they adults, it's tough. I mean, I've been in enough structure fires that I'm more comfortable than maybe somebody who's never been in one, but you got to be smart. There's nothing in there other than human life that you can't replace. So I know in the technological world, those pictures need to be on the cloud. So you don't need to go get those.
Yeah.
The computer files are going to be backed up. So pets and kids don't go in. Don't go in for your stuff. Get the lives out and then stay outside, and then we can go in and try and save as much as we possibly can.
I love that. Now, when we're talking about fire prevention here, what are some common things that you see that cause a house fire that we could prevent?
Kitchen fires are usually the number ones, but with a kitchen fire, if you're cooking, you're awake, so it's happening. So a lot of times kitchen fires don't necessarily burn the house down, but if kitchen fire gets rolling, grab the kids and get out of the house, close the door behind you, meet in the front yard, call 911. Some household tips: candles and cigarettes. Obviously, those things do cause fires. I always say candles and cats. Make sure your candles are out when you leave. You have cats in the home and there's a candle, they like to play. They knock one over. Next thing you know, your recliner's on fire. So the other thing is your dryer and your lint trap. Your dryer exhaust vent needs to be checked regularly. Heat from a dryer and that dryer lint can clog up, and if that catches on fire, you know what's going to happen next. So
I think that's huge too with someone moving into a house.
And I don't think a lot of people think about that.
Yeah.
I will say that, and probably thanks to Scott, is that Kristen does her own laundry and she changes the lint trap. Yeah. So, I mean, she pulls it out, scrapes it all off, puts it in the garbage. I mean, because that is so important.
Yeah, the lint trap and the dryer is the
about
easy one. It's that exhaust tube in the back. That's the hard one.
And that, who do you suggest come out to do that? Is it their company that, because I guess I don't really do that. Honestly, I do the lint trap, but I don't always do the exhaust
there's not
tube.
really a company that would do it, but I mean, you can, if you ever want to do some spring cleaning or once a year, pull your dryer out, detach that.
And just kind of.
If you have an electric blower or a battery powered leaf blower at your house, stick that in the pipe and go outside and make sure all that stuff comes out. You're good to go.
I never thought of that.
Which I think is important if somebody this year bought a house that's already been lived in.
Yeah.
We have no idea if the previous seller had ever cleaned that out. So this time of year, that's a good thing to think of.
And we're starting to see with new construction that they're recessing those exhaust tubes in the wall to prevent those 3 bends. Most of them are just flush, and you put your dryer up and you got the coiled thing. It's got 2 bends on it. That's where it gets to be a lot more dangerous too, because that lint will catch in the corners of that of that aluminum pipe.
Sure. And then I was going to ask about space heaters. I know this time of year that could cause a
Yep.
lot of problems.
Those are definitely up there this time of year. You're right about that. They're getting better now. They make them where they shut off after a certain period of time, and if they fall over, they shut off. So again, the cats and dogs and space heaters, they're not getting knocked over as much, but that was always a big thing. I mean, the hoverboards was a big thing for a while. Remember when
Oh,
those
yes.
were new?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those were catching on fire in people's garages because the batteries were exploding. Any real battery that you're charging or thing that you have plugged in, if you're take the battery off and unplug it when it's charged. Don't let it sit down there for
Yeah. Well, wasn't there a little bit of time where the iPhones were
Yes.
catching on fire too with the
I
charger?
thought that was the Androids.
Or, you know what? It probably wasn't Android, but But I
There's
just
a little
remember.
inside joke there.
I know. Trust me. We know. We don't like those Android users. Oh, it's a sensitive topic in our world.
Sensitive topic here at work.
The green bubble. Come on. No. Anyway.
Time for text.
Right. They totally mess it up, and we can't name it. Anyway. You see, I lost my train of thought. But no, they were plugged because teenagers were falling asleep in bed with their
Oh,
phone.
yeah, under their pillow.
And they were starting on fire.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The heat of it.
There's always chances
Not good.
with anything electric, anything plugged in. Electrical fires are pretty common also.
What do you do if you have an electrical fire?
Call 911.
Mm-hmm.
Still, you can, and if you smell something like a burning smell, like an electrical burning smell, call 911 and we can come out and we can investigate and go through everything. And we have thermal cameras that can see heat through walls and things like that. So check and see if your sockets are hot. Check and see if fuses or breakers are blown. We can't necessarily fix those problems, but we can tell you if there is a problem or if there could be a problem. And then you might need to follow up with electrician or professional.
Well, and that's something I think you can tell your kids too, is if the they're charging their devices or their Nintendos or whatever. Yeah, if that socket is hot, they need to tell somebody. Because I've you don't think about
good.
it, but if you tell them to tell you, I mean, that can, especially if they're charging anything in their room.
Yep.
And then also this time of year, I think of bonfires.
I love bonfires.
But burning those leaves, burning them next to trees.
You always have that potential that if from an open burn, just an ember gets up. That's like 4th of July. Usually there's some fireworks that are too close to a house or in a garbage can. That's nothing too hot stuff in a garbage can. Charcoal grills, let that stuff cool down. Don't put it in a garbage can. It can catch on fire. So same with dumpsters. Don't go to your apartment complex dumpster and just dump your charcoal in there.
Oh my goodness.
Even though that dumpster fire is contained, it will still light on fire.
But we're chuckling. But the funny thing is you can't assume that this is common sense maybe for some, but unfortunately it's not. That's why we are doing this, and so you can tell everybody.
The old lit cigarette that's what starts a lot of the wildland fires out west. So the lit cigarette, same thing. We had a lit cigarette that burned some landscaping the other day.
Wow.
Yeah, that was at my rental, remember? When Mike's roommate
Yeah.
caught the side of our house on fire because his cigarette torched the leaves, and then all of a sudden, Crown Point Fire Department's coming out.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
We're thankful for
The good thing is the house didn't burn down.
Correct.
And we learned something.
And we had the
Somebody
renter move
learned
out.
Yeah. Somebody learned something.
I think, Scott, while we wrap this up, I really appreciated what you said earlier, how teaching children to not be afraid of a fireman. And I think it's also, if you want to even clarify a little more, the firemen don't just put out fires. You guys do so much more than that. So anything you want to expound there too?
Yeah, we here at Portage and a lot of the career departments in the area we're fire-based EMS too. So most of us are paramedics. So some days we'll ride the ambulance, and some days we'll be on an engine or a ladder truck. So we are, trained in a lot of different areas. So when the kids see a fire truck with the lights on, it doesn't always mean they're going to a fire. They could be going to an EMS call or another type of emergency. So when you call 911 in Portage, you get the same group of people, no matter what the emergency is. So
I love that.
What would you say to, and I'll just, for simplicity, what would you say to Kristen, your niece, at the age of 10, if she said, I want to be a firefighter? What's a good piece of advice you could give a kid at that age?
At that age, that's the age where I think a lot of kids want to be a firefighter.
Yeah.
I think that they should come visit the firehouse and go to open houses when they have them. Most fire departments in this area have their open house in
October.
It kind of culminates the fire prevention week that most departments do with the school system. So, and that's what we do. We do ours right before our open house, and then we tell them our open house is this date. There's a lot of activities. There's a lot of things to do, things to see, and of course there's free hot dogs. So that usually gets people.
Have you guys already had it for this month?
Yeah. It was
Okay.
the first week.
Yeah.
We did it a little early this year. I mean, because it gets a little chilly. It's a little. We got lucky. We had a great weather day for ours. But anyway, back to Kristen. I would just tell her that be involved, keep visiting, keep seeing if you like it, and then you've got to be able to be a people person. People they're our business, so we don't. If you don't want to deal with people, you don't want to be in the fire service.
Well, and that lies the compassionate side and the selfless side too. You're going in to save someone, and you got to be okay with.
Yep. And then for Kristen, I would say, at her age, we are problem solvers. That's what we do. We get called for a problem every time, and we have to do our best to try and fix it, solve it, mitigate it in any way. So if somebody wants to be in the fire service at that age, they need to start solving their own problems.
Yeah. I like that. That's actually making my mind go to another podcast that Amy and I can do.
Perfect.
What can you do to figure out your own need?
Yeah.
And then you're gonna learn something every time it works or doesn't work for the rest of your life, and eventually you'll be able to solve other people's problems pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So
I love it.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to add, Chandra?
No, I
I
think.
had one more note.
Oh, here.
Hold
Well,
on.
will you tell us?
Oh, you know what? We didn't touch on smoke detector battery changing. That's the only
I love it. Let's do it.
Okay.
It you need to pick a date that is going to work for you. It used to be when you turn the clocks forward and backwards every 6 months. If that goes away, you need to have a different date in mind. Use a birthday, use a kid's birthday, use 4th of July and Christmas, but then try and remember every 6 months, try and keep those batteries fresh.
And replace the batteries, because when they start beeping, it gets very annoying. But
it's so
don't just take
annoying.
those batteries out.
Yeah.
Right.
Replace them.
Can't take them out, replace them.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like
At
that.
the same time that you should change your furnace filter.
Yep.
Because have you seen a lot of fires in that situation?
Not specifically, but that is still something that you should do.
Yeah.
It's that 6 month, 30-minute maintenance on the house. Furnace filters. You can check your lint, your exhaust, your dryer exhaust at that time too. Keep everything out of your utility closet. Keep things away from your hot water heater. So
That's
and then
good.
change those
Very good.
batteries.
So most importantly, if you bought a new house this year, or even if you didn't, just refresh with everyone that lives in that house. Check and make sure your smoke detectors are there, that they have fresh batteries in them, and do you all have an escape plan? And are you comfortable with it? So, Scott, thank you. I think this is so informative. I'm excited to get it out there to share it with people. We appreciate your time.
Thank you for having me.